Meeting to order at 12 sharp. And can we get a roll call?
Patricia Felton.
Here.
Brian Ford. Kelly Garrett. Bruce Cantor will be here. Yep. Mike Green.
Here.
Charlotte Jones. Pam Schermeyer.
Here.
And Danielle Huey.
Here.
Okay, so we'll need a move to approve the absence of Brian Ford and Danielle Huey. No. Charlotte Jones.
She's just trying to kick you
I guess so.
out. Move to approve. Move to excuse those.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Moving on to the approval of the agenda. So you want to make a motion to that effect?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Has anybody looked at the board minutes from July?
Mm-hmm.
If not, please do so now.
If nothing, I'll move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right. Similarly, the consent agenda, which consists of the financial reports and the code enforcement report. I see that Steve has been very busy this month with his code enforcement duties. Can we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. We're up to public comment already. Does anybody from the public want to speak? Please stand by one of these microphones.
There's so many microphones to choose from.
Yes, take your pick.
I'm Jason Hammond, on City Council. Also was part of the Lathrup Village Music Festival Planning Committee. And I don't have a whole lot to say about the festival other than it was just a fantastic success. We're still kind of crunching the numbers on attendance and revenue from the bar, which will go into next year's festival, and feedback from the community. But I really want to say how grateful the committee is and continues to be for the support both from the DDA and the city staff. We definitely obviously couldn't have done anything that we did in the music festival as a committee without that support, not just financial, but also promotions, also just encouragement. We had a lot more time this year to plan the festival than we did last year, and the results showed up in just the vibe at the event, number of people we saw there, the quality of the production, the quality of the artists and vendors that participated, and we can see that we're on an upward trajectory 1 year over year. The first year we did the whole thing in 2 months. This year we had practically a year to pull it off, and you can see the results. We've got another year in front of us to plan it for next year. We will have conversations in the next week or so to discuss lessons learned and things that we can do to improve. So you can anticipate 2 things next year. One is an even better festival that will be improving upon what we accomplished this year and what we learned from our experience this year, and another appeal for support from the DDA. So with that, we just really appreciate everybody who helped to pull it off. Volunteers were a huge part of this as well, so we want to make sure that we acknowledge them. We have in a few different ways. We will continue to do so in the coming months. We have already had day of the festival and the days leading up to the festival appeals from people who were not volunteering that they want to volunteer next year. So the community of people that will help execute the events next year will be even bigger, and that will do nothing but make things even easier and better and higher quality. So thank you for everything.
Thank you.
I just have a question.
Sure.
Once you get all your data together, you will present that report
to the committee?
Yeah, Austin will be involved in pulling together everything from the financials to the attendance to feedback from the police department. That was
Okay.
really integrally
Okay.
involved from a public safety perspective. So you guys will be hearing all about that in
Okay.
a report that we'll deliver at some point in the future.
And so what, in general, what things that you see compared to the previous year that you thought it was a success?
I think the number one primary thing was we had a bigger budget, which meant that we were able to do a lot more. We had a bigger budget and we had more time. And
Okay.
those two things were integral to us being able to have the high quality event that we had
Right.
this year.
So you mark success by which quality though?
All of them. Like
Okay.
from my perspective personally,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
it's are people having a good time? Is the crowd big enough? Does the music sound good? Are
Okay.
the artists happy with the experience? Are the
Okay.
neighbors happy
Okay.
with the experience?
Okay. Gotcha.
So it's more than just finances for
Mhm.
sure. Personally, I am curious. Over the coming months, hopefully, we can gather some anecdotal information about what's the impact to the businesses in the community
Right.
by the DDA investing in an
Mhm.
event like that. It's a soft number. It's very difficult to say, oh yeah, this specific business generated this amount of revenue or this amount of exposure from DDA sponsorship of the event. But I think we can get a little bit of feedback, if a business is to say, oh yeah, this person came to my business and they told me that they became aware of us because they were
Right.
at the music festival.
Mhm.
So it's really anecdotal, but hopefully, Austin, we can work on figuring out some way to get information like that from business owners. Because at the end of the day, well, why are you guys investing in this event?
That's right.
It's because you're trying
Absolutely.
to increase the profile of the city and
That's
help
right.
business owners feel supported. And
Mhm.
so we
Yeah.
want to make sure that that metric gets touched on as well.
Okay.
Any
Thank you.
other-
And that's going to be part of my director's report, is that we are going to make a more detailed report that will be brought to you all next month.
Mhm.
And part of that, I think the planning of the festival has gotten to a point where we can refine certain aspects of the planning process, but then also provide or start looking at metrics we can track with the businesses. And maybe there's a way we can integrate festival participation. People who are attending the festival, if they have like proof of ticket, can go to businesses and
Mhm.
maybe they get like a 10% discount.
Right.
And then we can start tracking that information of saying, okay, where'd they go afterwards, or where'd they go, during the festival? What businesses got touched upon?
Okay. That sounds great.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, then let's move on to old business. Austin, are you taking the reins here?
Sure, yeah. So, one of the items that the board asked me to look into for is training. When it comes to DDA board members, training, what is expected, how analyzing certain reports, but then also workforce planning going forward. What goals do we want to accomplish and how do we want to get there? And luckily we have a great contract with Giffords Webster, and part of that is ours to provide training. One of their partners and principal planners is Jill Baum, and she has 2 decades of experience in planning and also engagement with boards, just like ours here, with other local communities throughout Metro Detroit. She, when I met with her a couple weeks ago about training opportunities, she showed me a presentation she did with another local community DDA board, and it went from introductory of how to go onboarding to a DDA board to long-term workforce planning for the board, what goals and how to set them and how to achieve them, and then how to track the success of those implementation. So she's offered to provide 2 training sessions, either at the end of our meetings, so we could choose 2 meetings in the fall, or choose one in the fall, one in the winter, where the last 90 minutes would be Jill working with all of us with a presentation up on the board. And that's also a place where it's a workshop. We can work back and forth. If you have any questions, we can ask them, answer them right there. Or we could have a standalone training session if that's what the board prefers. And also one other item is that Oakland County is hosting a workshop for new board members of committees across the entire county, so local to the county level, on October 3rd. So that's being planned out right now, and when more information is available, I'll pass it along to the board. So it's kind of, right now, we're just looking to find out what would you prefer? Would you prefer that the training happens at the end of a meeting, where we had tried to, get the meeting done in a relatively efficient manner and as quickly as possible, and then have that 90 minutes at the end to have Jill come in and train? And she's very knowledgeable. She is also, she serves on both the Michigan Planning Association Board of Directors and the Main Street Oakland County Advisory Board. So she has some great knowledge she can pass on to the DDA board. So is it that your preference would be to stay at the end of a meeting and do the training, or have a standalone training?
So that would be split, or if it was standalone, it would just be one training?
We could do two as well, standalone sessions. In my experience serving on a zoning board of appeals board, I've done it with training where it was a couple hours, but then also the Michigan Planning Association came in and did a day-long training. So that was on a weekend. It wasn't during the week. So we could split it into two standalone sessions or two sessions at the end of a scheduled DDA board meeting.
Well, I'm good either way. I'll
Okay.
just go with the majority. My schedule is flexible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
And I don't have a preference either.
yeah.
Okay. We were kind of leaning towards it being at the end of two meetings. So we could either do them back to back, like we could do November, December, or we could do October and February, to kind of spread it out. We don't want to have an information dump on all of you and then you're like, okay, where do I go with this? We want to build upon it. So what would your preference be? Would it be at the end of, month, 1 month go into the other, or kind of spread it out?
Well, I guess the only thing I would say is that the third Friday in December is probably a bad time for
Good point.
a
Very
lot
good
of
one.
people to
Yes.
have sit in meetings for
Solid,
long periods of time. But
Hmm.
other than that, I'm
Mm-hmm.
open to anything.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I'll work with Jill. She's going to be sending me over some information about the presentations. But when I met with them, her in Birmingham, she showed me the presentations they used for that other community recently here in Metro Detroit. They even did more advanced. I talk about long-term work planning, like goals they had and how they wanted to achieve them. So we can start with that first one, and then that second one would be a little more advanced. So I think I'm really looking forward to it. And I think we couldn't have asked for a better educator than Jill to come in
Okay.
and work with us. All right, so
Good.
I'll work with them to find and get some dates settled down.
Okay.
Okay. Moving on to new business. Steinkopf Nursery.
So we've been working with Steinkopf Nursery to get we got a proposal for one of the flower beds out here at City Hall. Our goal, working with the beautification committee, is that we're going to take one flower bed at a time. I did attach this morning renderings of what Steinkopf put together, of what the long-term goal for the beautification of City Hall will look like. And also, City Hall does reside in the DDA, so this is beautification of the DDA. This would be the quote you have here would be for one of the flower beds, and this is for me, the DDA director, to submit the order for the shrubs, plants, and trees with Steinkopf for the amount of $1,922.48, and then working with the beautification committee to find the best time of year, which, similar to the trees that we talked about last month, we're going to wait for as we enter the fall, so that those trees and shrubs go into hibernation. We can plant them; they'll stay in hibernation mode until the spring comes, And at that time, after snow melt, the ground will be saturated, and that's the perfect time for it to begin rooting. So it gives it the best chance of survival.
Just one small thing here. It's not actually going to be one bed at a time. We ordered these are the trees and bushes.
Okay, thank you.
For the three beds that we're concentrating on first. And then at a later date, we'll plant the perennials that go with those trees and bushes. And we still have, there are 6 beds total, so we still have the 2 small ones on the very south and the exit door little
It's a
plots.
small one, yeah.
Yeah, north and south, and the bed out front where the monument is, which we wouldn't tear apart, but we would just more add to it.
Mhm.
So,
But yeah, we will be doing the planting ourselves and saving a lot of money.
Yeah.
All right, so do we need a motion to approve this expenditure?
Yes.
Okay, of $1,922.48 to Steinkopf Nursery in Farmington Hills.
move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. On to holiday lighting discussion.
So, looking back at the proposals that have been received over the last few years, the price ranges from $4,000 up to $40,000 for installation of holiday lights throughout the DDA.
40,000?
There was a quote, a historical one I found that was $40,000.
Okay.
And so it's a broad range. And last year, I looked at their quote, but with what you guys saw last year, before I go out and ask for new quotes, I just want to see what you all envision and what budget you're looking to stay within as we ask for quotes from different contractors who could install the holiday lights. Most likely in mid to late November is when the installation would occur. So compared to last year, the years prior, what is it that you would like to see?
What was last year's budget?
Last year's budget was 10,000. We came in we found a vendor who would do it for 4,500, and pretty much nobody was happy with the results there. And yeah.
That's an understatement.
Yeah. So I think 10,000 sounds like a reasonable budget. I don't really want to go a lot more than that for something that's only going to be up for 6 weeks or so.
Yeah.
And I think we should concentrate on City Hall's exterior. I think we dropped the pavilion and gazebo decorations last year and really didn't hear much complaint about that. But I mean, we want it to look good, but just maybe concentrate on the exterior, or I mean, unless the budget allows for something greater than that.
Was the budget last year 10,000 and they came in at 5,000, or was the budget
Yes.
5,000? I couldn't remember. Was
No,
there
the budget, we did authorize 10,000.
10,000? Okay,
Yeah.
couldn't remember.
What's market rate for like lights? And because of course that always seems a lot because we decorate on a small level, but what is market rate for doing something like with the city as far as like them lighting the front?
It expands pretty drastically throughout Metro Detroit. I know other communities that I've worked at, that was about what the budget was spent last year was about the same. But there's communities like Rochester Hills that's a draw for them. I mean,
Yeah.
they use it as a way to
Rochester spends nearly over $250,000 a year on lights.
Right.
When I was in St. Clair Shores, we did our park decorations. We spent about $200,000 every year. Naturally, bigger scale and everything, but lights add up real quick,
I know
real
they
fast.
do,
Because lights don't seem that much. Or you say, oh, well, we go to the dollar store, Menards, buy your own lights.
No.
A lot of things, it's the installation part is what gets you.
Yeah.
For example, city, we don't have the equipment to go up on the roof and install lights and everything like that.
Nor the space to,
Yeah, nor the space
Store.
to store
Yeah.
them, or if you want any
Yeah.
decent quality lights at all, you're gonna pay money for it.
Yeah.
So it heads up real fast, and it just depends on what you're looking for.
Do we get a tree in Lathrup?
We have a fake one we put up. I would guess previous years it used to go in the pavilion. Last year we had it inside at City Hall since we didn't do lights outside.
But if the goal is to keep the installation around City Hall on the exterior, I can begin getting quotes for that. I was just curious if we wanted to do the light posts. Some communities do the light posts. Some will put snowflakes or wreaths up on the light posts. But we can start with City Hall and get quotes for those.
Yeah.
I'll get at least 3 quotes from suppliers that do service this area, and I'll bring them back to you all next
Yeah.
month.
What if we did a grand tree instead of, because our light poles are so far and in between, like the flowers that you chose, they were absolutely beautiful, but I only saw them like when I was, because I'm in these meetings, I noticed it. I was like, oh wow, those are the flowers she was talking about. But they're so far in between that I feel like people overlook it. Because like when you go to like, I spent a lot of time in Berkeley, there's so many light poles that when they do Halloween, they have those skeletons everywhere, and we just don't have that opportunity. So maybe if we did something more grand, like a tree, and got the tree lit, and then I think it would be like a focal point instead of those light posts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So, when it comes to a tree, how large?
Don't ask me. I'm a granny girl. So, but something big, so where it could be like, and we can make it like a community event, maybe. For
So
the
are you saying instead of the light poles or instead of just the light poles?
Instead of the
City
light
Hall?
poles, like
Okay.
something
Okay.
smaller, like
Yeah.
maybe like we can install like stationary snowmen or something on the poles to keep Christmas coming, but just not the lights because they don't make the same effect that they do in other downtown areas 'cause we don't have that many light poles. So like for instance, that entire strip from like City Hall to down to 12 Mile is probably like, it's not that many poles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
they're far apart.
yes.
Not
And well
impactful.
back from the road. too,
Yes.
So that's
And also with the width of the road, it also kind of
Right.
creates a little bit of a bigger area.
Yes. So what if we had a big tree that was lit up and everybody in the neighborhood would see it
Yeah.
every day?
Having a tree lighting.
Yeah, that would be
ceremony.
beautiful.
Yeah, last year I attended Royal Oaks tree lighting ceremony, and it draws people on out.
Yeah, that'd be
Mhm.
beautiful.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, for the light poles, we do have holiday banners that we typically put up.
So yeah,
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah, that'd be good.
So,
Okay.
and I do recall from last year's discussion about this that it would have cost us an extra $6,000 to put garland around the poles, not even lights, just the garland.
Wow.
So that was one reason we were looking to find somebody who would do it for less.
Have we checked with Sunday? Do they do this kind of stuff? Or will, I should say, will they do this kind of stuff? I mean, that might
We
be
can
some,
check
that
on
might
it.
be
We can
somebody
specialty,
to
but we can
submit
definitely
a.
check.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because their prices tend to be really good.
They're favorable.
Yeah.
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 And also, I would recommend we could also check with Paradise, landscaper, because I know a lot of landscaping companies in the winter they pivot. They might do this as well.
Yeah.
We'll reach out to those
Yep.
two, and then also some others.
Yeah. I know last year Susie floated the idea of permanent lights that you could like, I gather, string along like in between the mortar of the bricks on the front and stuff, and just keep them off most of the year, except when you wanted to turn them on. Just white lights, and then so with just a few more decorations, you wouldn't have to keep hiring somebody every year. It would just be
Right.
a flip
Well,
the
'cause that
switch.
was one question I was going to ask is like, so we pay this money every year, but then the companies come and they take the lights away, so we're really just paying, we're really just renting.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But again,
Exactly
then you have
right.
the issue of store, well, in that case you don't because they
No,
stay up
maybe-
year round, but you
yeah.
know, otherwise we'd have to store them. And
That's a good idea, though. To
Yeah.
look at you're saving some money that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if they're the upgraded ones where you can change the colors, so we could change them according to the holiday.
Oh, that's a
Yeah.
good idea.
Yeah, I mean, I think she was saying, yes, it would cost quite a bit more
initially.
Yeah.
but then it's one and
Mhm.
done,
Yeah.
as far as the expenses go. So it might be worth looking into anyway.
Mm-hmm.
All right, shall we move on to the grant application?
So this is a part of ARPA money that was provided to the states. during COVID-19 and to revitalize communities. It was then passed along to the county through the Revitalization and Placemaking grant application. So this is the application that we submitted to the county for the playscape out back. So this is authorization to grant the director to enter into agreement on that contract. The county has asked that it's brought to the board so that an individual can be authorized to sign the contract. So this is just asking for that approval to sign the contract for placemaking in public spaces. And the project has been brought down due to the local match, but Mike and I recently met with a supplier who is on the state contract for playscapes, and they also offer a grant for the installation and purchase of a playscape. So we're looking to get more information from them, and once that proposal is received, and we do have additional information, we will bring it to the board.
So this is, I'm a little confused. I mean, I understand
Yeah.
the whole signature piece, but I'm a little bit, so we had the original RAP grant that wasn't approved. And so we're putting in a second grant, but we've scaled that back, right? So that doesn't include the parking lot.
Correct.
Okay.
So part of this is twofold. So yes, the original one wasn't necessarily approved because we couldn't come up with the matching funding. So to continue with the RAP, they asked if we wanted to resubmit the same project, scale back. We did to meet the requirements of everything. Took the parking lot out. We kept everything associated with the playground. And now this is their next step in that process. If we want to move forward, we have to authorize Austin to be the signer of the
Right.
program.
So when I was looking through the packet, there was a estimate page in there with Giffords Webster that was like 600 grand. So was that part of the old?
Yeah, that was the
Okay,
old.
that's
I
why I got
uploaded the old
confused,
yeah,
because
yeah.
this was like $300,000, but then
Yeah.
that was $600,000. All
I
right.
should have cut that out and only included the first part of the
Yeah.
agreement, not the.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
good now. That makes sense. All right.
All
thanks.
right, and I lost it somewhere, but I know when I looked at the packet as well. So we would be on the hook as the DDA for $207,000, is that right?
So it kept the commitments the same between the DDA and the city. Both have resolutions approving up to $100,000 match. So
Up
now
to
I
100.
think we have the submission in there for total project costs of I think right around 400 some thousand. The county only matches up to 40% no matter what we submit, and then the city is responsible for the rest. So, and that's something I remember we talked about during budget time. It's that's why we took it out of the budget. But you guys, the DDA still has the ability to use fund balance dollars if we
Yeah.
decide to move forward. If we don't want to move forward with this project, we don't have to. But it's an opportunity that we're not potentially not going to get
Yeah.
again through the county because as soon as this money's gone, it's gone.
Well, all right, let me ask you, so, this project would have to be completed by, is it mid-2026? All right, so we don't have the money in our current budget,
Correct.
At all.
If we were to move forward with it, it's
so.
naturally we still have multiple approvals if we move forward. It's approving the playscape and the contractor's going to do it. And at that time, the DDA and City Council would have to officially amend their budget to include it. Now
Yeah.
everyone's approved via resolutions that we'd fund this project, but naturally that was over a year ago at this point. But yeah, you just have to amend your budget.
Okay,
So not
Um,
agreeing into the current program agreement with the county would forego the grant dollars. So we'd
Yeah.
be stepping away from it.
yeah, I
So this would
understand
allow
that.
us, to stay.
So, I mean, nobody is opposed to safe playgrounds for children. It does seem, though, that this is more of a city thing than a DDA thing. I mean, I can think of one business owner who would be thrilled with the idea, and that would be the Cernow Group, because if they build their apartments, that might be a lure to draw in some younger families. But other than that, the benefit to the business community is hard to see. And for that, and because that's our main directive, supporting the business community, it just seems like I mean, I could swallow probably 100,000, but I wouldn't want the city to say, no, we can't afford it, our share of it, and then, okay, DDA, it's up to you to fill the gap. That just, at least under our current fiscal year, I'd be very reluctant to, bleed our fund balance more. But that being said, now maybe next fiscal year, look how things look next summer. I don't know how long it would take to get all the approvals in place and the thing built, but if we have like a year to make it happen, I mean, maybe by next summer, we'll be in a better position to say, yeah, we don't have any other big projects, looming over our heads, and we'll be more in a position to be, willing to approve it. But I'd be happy to, entertain a notion for just going ahead with with the grant paperwork that you have to fill out.
In talking with Mike, we didn't foresee this being done this fiscal year. This was more of a planning and working with this contractor to get renderings and find out exactly what the price would be, and then their internal grant that they offer to local communities, how much that would offset the DEDA's cost. So, this is not something that would be done in this fiscal year. It would have to go to next.
Okay.
But we want to make sure that these grant dollars from ARPA and the county were still allocated to Lathrup Village.
Yeah, at minimum, it would be earmarked for us.
Yeah.
And if
Yeah.
at the end of the day we have to back out,
Yeah.
it'd
Okay.
be a bummer. Sorry,
Yeah.
county, spend
Yeah.
it somewhere else, but
Yeah.
Right.
at least we'd be able.
Or, I mean, do we have any other ideas for projects that would fit their criteria?
The biggest thing I've seen for their projects, all pretty much parks related, and the biggest issue with them, it's they only match up to 40%. So no matter
Mhm.
what project we do, it's still the city / DDA
Yeah.
still covering the majority of the cost.
Yeah, okay. Any further discussion? All right, then I will entertain a motion let me go back here and see what we're approving here. To approve the RAP 2.0 Revitalization and Placemaking Grant application.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution in support of the Oakland County RAP 2.0 revitalization and placemaking grant application.
Thank you. Second? Okay, Danielle. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion carries. Okay, Austin, you have one more duty, the DDA July Director Report.
Okay. We have a DDA event this evening. It is a back-to-school rally. I actually have it down here. Is providing local students age 5 to 18 with backpacks that are supplied with school supplies. They can pick them up today between 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. On 12 Mile at 18411 West 12 Mile. This is a great benefit for local students who are in need of school supplies and in need of backpacks, so that when the school year begins, they have what is needed. Actually, it was on Wednesday, volunteers went and helped pack the backpacks with school supplies. So it is a great benefit for the students. There is a business beautification workshop that is scheduled for the Tri-County DDAs with Southfield, Oak Park, and ourselves. This is going to take place in Oak Park. It is on September 25th, 5 to 7 p.m. I'm going to post something on social media about this for our businesses to register, but also if any businesses are interested, please don't hesitate in reaching out.
You said September
25th. And then we have the all-board training. This is hosted by Oakland County that we discussed earlier for all new members to boards and committees. This will be on October 3rd. It will be in Waterford at the county's offices there from 6 to 8 p.m. They are finalizing on all the details, so once more information is available, I will pass along to the board and also on social media. Oakland County Commissioners Showcase. This is for the businesses or the DDAs in the in Oakland County Main Street program to showcase their downtown. I plan on attending it. It's October 18th from 7:30 to 10 a.m. I'll provide more information as we get closer. And then I just wanted to touch on, there's a new training on February 4th. It is hosted by Main Street or the Tri-County DDAs, so Oak Park, Southfield, and ourselves. It's in Oak Park, Art of Giving Great Service. It's on February 4th, so mark your calendars for that. We did have the Lathrup Village Music Festival this past weekend, which was a great success. Commercial businesses, updates going on in the DDA. We received a site plan for interior and exterior remodeling for an auto parts store here on Southfield Road. Provided some feedback to the applicant. They're making some adjustments before we take it to Planning Commission. But just so you're aware, that is in the process. Just spoke with the applicant today in Giffords Webster about the project. So we're trying to move it along as quickly as possible to get through the site plan review process, but that will be both interior and exterior work. And then there was an additional wall sign that was approved by the ZBA for the BP gas station up here. It was installed, and it was according to their renderings, and it actually came out looking pretty good. So excited about that. There was no infrastructure work done in the DDA during this past month. The county has informed us that foundation work for the Hawk signal, high intensity activated walk sign that will be on the south part of Southfield Road, should begin in early September. That's when it's planned to. The steel frame should be shipped by October 25th, as we discussed. They're the only supplier in the country for this type of steel frame, and it's a 4-month back order, so we've been waiting for it, and ours is currently in the process of being finalized at their manufacturing facility, which I believe is in Minnesota. And then the installation of the intersection with the arm should proceed in November. So that's what the county's plan is, and hopefully we can meet those deadlines. Again, the back school rally is tonight. I just emphasize that any kids who are in need, any children you know, grandchildren, or friends who have kids aged 5 to 18, please let them know that they can go between 6 and 8 p.m. at 18411 West 12 Mile Road up here in Lathrup Village and receive those school supplies there. So
what's the address again? 184.
it is 18411 West 12 Mile Road.
Okay.
And we did have the second annual Lathrup Music Festival. As Jason said, it was a success. Liquor sales this year increased by 77% compared to last year. We are looking more into the different metrics and to provide a more detailed report to the DDA board in September. And then also we are drafting a report to provide to Oakland County, who was a very generous sponsor for the event, and I plan on attending a commissioner meeting coming up to thank them in person for their generous contribution to the festival.
Very good.
And Pam, that's all I got this month.
All right. Anybody else have anything?
Yes, two things. The sign on Lincoln and Southfield, is that our responsibility?
Yeah, the damage
yes.
sign?
Yep.
Yes, some
that's-
clients, they keep talking to
Oh,
me
yeah.
about that.
Signorama
Yes.
has been informed, and we did put down a deposit, and they have begun the process of manufacturing the new sign that will be installed hopefully soon. Yeah.
Okay. And Steve actually came by my spa this past weekend, and I have a suggestion that would help the DDA and make Steve's job more efficient. Is to get an auto pay system for the
Okay.
business owners as far as with their licensing, so that way we don't have to. Personally, I forget sometime as well, and I was like, "Why is this not on auto pay?" He's like,
Mhm.
"I don't know." And I said, so we should get a system to put all the business owners on auto pay and, you know,
Mhm.
it'll just make it easier collecting fees for DDA.
Yeah, I agree that that would make things more more easier for the businesses. There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
We have a lot to look forward to, both in the immediate and long term, and that can be something that can sneak up on you.
Mhm.
Just time flies by.
It does.
We can look into seeing the system we use here in the city, which is the most used system for payments in the state, and see if they can be integrated in auto pay feature.
Okay.
So I'll look into that and work with Steve on that.
Okay.
All right, I guess we just need a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you.